Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to F1 Manager. This is episode 23, and we are reaching the final race of the season. For us, of course, there's nothing really much left to race for other than stopping Aston Martin from scoring enough points to overtake us at the Constructors, which they would need to get 4 to do so, and they have not scored a point all season. But otherwise, we do have one thing coming up here as we approach the end of the season. Now, I only have 14.5 million in reserve, so I don't have a ton of cash, but circumstances are dictating that I should probably spend most of that. And here is why. Our wind tunnel, which is only a level 1 to begin with, condition is dropping off. It's gone from a level 4 down to a level 3 in terms of condition, and that wear has lowered what is already a very low-end development section of of our team. And it's going to cost 2 million to refurbish, which is going to take a month to refurbish anyway. Or we spend 5 times that amount, which, okay, that's a lot. It's a lot on top. But do we spend 2 million or do we spend 10 and make the upgrade happen? The upgrade is going to bring a whole lot more to the party, and it'll bring it back up to that 100% fully refurbished because of the upgrade. So I'm going to splash the cash here. We're going to spend that 10 million on the wind tunnel now because it's what we wanted anyway. And we were going to do that with kind of off-season kind of money in the near future. We might as well just get on with it and save the 2 million. Other than questions of making the powertrain hold out for one final race, just getting basically the most, the least worn parts onto the car, regardless of how bad they are, because there's no point spending money on that right now, if at all humanly possible. So we'll find the least worn parts in the powertrain and use those for this last race weekend. But otherwise, looking at the aerodynamic parts, we have enough. We have enough to get through now, I think, one final race weekend.
We're at Yas Island in Abu Dhabi for the Formula One Grand Prix. The Yas Marina circuit was completed in 2009, and we've seen a fair share of celebration and commiseration over the years since then. The scenery may be spectacular, but this weekend, all eyes will be on the track. There's a reason why the Yas Marina circuit is used as a test track. The long straights put engine power through its paces, while the twists and bends make medium speed downforce just as important at this challenging circuit. This is it. We're down to the last few races of the season, and it's time for that final push. Who will be crowned champion at the end of it all? We'll find out soon enough. Let the weekend begin!
For all 3 practice sessions, we used some older parts, some practice parts. Next season we'll have to go back to that. In real life, that's what they used to do, and then just in the last couple of years they changed the setup, changed the rules to where you don't have actual practice gearboxes and practice ones that don't count against. It's all now counted against that grand total. So teams don't change things as often as they used to, but it does seem to be an effective way through those 3 practice sessions to use some of the older, worn out, the first one from the beginning of the year, once you start using the second one, and only using those for qualifying and the races, and then trying to use up those older used ones through practice throughout the rest of the season. But anyway, both drivers 97%, so we're happy there. Porsche didn't quite get the track acclimatization down, so he'll have the bonus 14 of 15. Albon has all 15, and this is what we're looking at for the car parts on Porsche. Again, we were spending no money for new things. We were just taking the best of what's left. The engine's good. The ERS should get us through the race. The gearbox is going to be a little bit iffy once it drops below 40%, which might even happen by the end of qualifying. Potentially, Porsche will be impacted a little bit during the race. Could see a DNF because of the gearbox, though it should just be minor wear. Albon's a bit better off. The engine in the same state. The ERS, he's got one left that's in good shape. We did one extra on Albon's car throughout the season compared to what we have for car number 1. But then the first race that we had, that newest, the extra one, the one more, was where we had our rear end smashed into, and the gearbox was completely destroyed, and there was pretty heavy damage to both the engine and the ERS. So one extra part didn't quite equal one extra part, but anyway, gearbox, similar state, but a little bit better off, 46%. That'll at least get partway into the race before it starts experiencing some wear, but the gearbox is definitely the concern with both cars in this final race, but just about good enough that we should get through it. Okay, we would think. Perez and Leclerc have come out in front of us. Leclerc will impact Pourchaire's lap, and Albon completely caught behind Leclerc, never even got past him at the end of that one. So Albon loses quite a bit of time. Pourchaire looked like he lost a little bit of time. We are going to need to send them out yet again on that compound, give them another chance at it. Not a great outcome on that one, as we did end up getting blocked. All right, as we start our second flying lap, everything's all clear. Stroll's on a flying lap as well. Verstappen's the one we got to watch out for, and he is peeled off into the pits just in time. So we do get a clean lap second time through, and you can see so far that puts us in ahead of both Aston Martins, slightly behind both Haas cars. I mean, so close there. That's how close we are to those guys now, and we're not that far off the McLarens either. Right? AlphaTauri is the only one we haven't seen to see kind of where they slot in at, but Gasly's pretty high up, so I would imagine they're going to be pretty comfortable on this track. The good news is we've got a sizable gap over the Aston Martins, though all weekend Vettel's been way ahead of Stroll. I wonder if he has a new part on the car that Stroll doesn't have, a huge upgrade that they're trying out before the end of the season for next year. That's worrying that he's closed that gap so much. But anyway, I like how close we are to the Haas cars, though. Alright, we've got an Aston Martin going out first for the final lap, so he's going to be impacted negatively by getting out there, and we're going to try to get ourselves, timed just right. Final Ferrari. I think we want to come in just behind him. Oh, AlphaTauri. Second, Aston Martin. Okay, let's go with Pourchaire. We just saw the last, I think that was Haas car as well, and Albon. Oh, there's the last Haas coming through. So we'll have the last car and second to last, third overall on that, and hopefully clean air. Oh no, one more Haas behind us. Let's ride on board with Albon as he takes us through a lap here of the Yas Marina circuit. By the way, it's a circuit that is, well, it's got a new look for one thing, and I do like the changes they made, but at the same time, I liked that it was one of the harder to drive circuits. Now it's not. Now it's gotten quite easy. Does not offer the same sort of challenge that it used to. But anyway, as for controversy last year, it's a topic I'm just going to stay away from because there shouldn't be controversy. I mean, it's a pretty slam dunk situation, but not everybody is in full agreement on that topic. We do improve our time, but not enough to move up, and actually Vettel does. So Vettel is going to qualify ahead of us. It's P18, P19 ahead of Stroll, behind the Haas cars, and behind Vettel. Vettel, it did look like he's got an upgrade. He was running P14, P15 throughout all of practice, and he's going to be starting a little bit ahead of us. Let's hope that he doesn't feature into the points battle today with this apparent upgrade.
The time has come to fight it out. It's race day.
Williams had a good performance in qualifying. Now they'll be eager to demonstrate that they can have an even better race. Haas gave a solid performance in qualifying, and they'll be happy enough with their grid position here. Let's see if they can make it work for them. There are a few clouds here tonight, but the sky remains mostly clear. Will it stay this way, or will the weather throw a spanner in the works?
And the anticipation is reaching boiling point here at the Yas Marina circuit. Do you think it's time to get started? Well, the fans here at Abu Dhabi do. A partly clear night here. Drivers now lined up on the grid. Here we have Alexander Albon. Slower than most yesterday, so today they'll be starting from the bottom half of the grid. And looking at the second Williams car. They'll be starting the race from the bottom half of the grid, so there's a fair bit of ground to make up. Will their hard work pay off today? Anything could happen. It's the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
All right, race underway, and we're going to only push momentarily. For one thing, we're already low on fuel. We are under fueled for this one a little bit, so we can't afford to go too deep on this. And we're looking at a one-stop strategy. Is a much faster way to go. Two stoppers, for one thing, involve pushing, and pushing wears the tires out way too fast here. The one stopper alone is already a bit of a stretch with the medium to hard, so we cannot afford to push on for very long. Right now, side by side, not challenging forward but challenging each other is not exactly where we want to be at the moment. You can see just from here that we're, without even pushing, we're looking to barely make it. So it is going to involve taking it a bit easier today and kind of settling in compared to what we would normally do. And I'm already thinking Albon's actually the one behind. So Albon, let's go ahead and drop off now. Now, in terms of gaps, we've got a gap behind us, and we are challenging inside on Vettel, and that is good for Pourchaire if he can complete this overtake. Continuing to attack that little bit longer. Let's go neutral here. And we are ahead. That is move complete. So that's really good, getting ahead of Vettel, right? That is who our primary race is with. I don't think we're going to necessarily challenge a whole lot otherwise. And I think we'll start backing off on the fuel and we'll go aggressive for now. And then let's go ahead and go neutral. We'll stay aggressive for a little while here for Pourchaire to make sure that Vettel cannot get back ahead of us in the short while. Once we've established a little bit of a gap over him, then we will ease off. Perez leads from Verstappen here at the start of this race. Sainz is third, Alonso, Bottas, and then Hamilton and Russell in a Mercedes that is very much a midfield car so far here at the end of season one. And then Norris, Gasly, and Ocon round out the points payers. Leclerc had a penalty. He was the fastest all through practice, but he did take an engine penalty, not to the back of the grid though, but backwards. Stroll also had a penalty, and I believe Tsunoda was the other one. There was only three, and Tsunoda was that third. So those two started at the back. Stroll qualified last anyway, so really Tsunoda was the only one who went backwards other than Leclerc. And we are still very much under threat, and actually we are under threat behind here as well. It said lockup. You didn't really see the lockup there, but
and the team had such high
locked up and went straight on. Couldn't even recover. Straight into the wall. And if safety car is coming out, that's Sainz out. Sainz out of this race. So there's one position already. And the race resumes here on the beginning of lap number 6. We're not going to drive ultra aggressive here at the start of this one, as we figure there's not going to be a ton of overtakes. We've got a couple laps, of course, until DRS is enabled. So for now, we just want to make sure that we're not being overtaken. More of a defensive move than anything else. And we do have that fuel so the fuel will help us. I want to go more standard on the tires sooner rather than later, so we'll do that now. We'll leave the overtake on just a little bit longer. It's coming in quite slowly here. And the chicane. The chicane that does remain, as they took out 2 other chicanes. We had 3 proper chicanes, and now there's just the one. Okay, we're going to leave the fuel mode up higher a bit longer, but I need to get the ERS off a little sooner. We'll start. For Ferrari, it's a good thing that they've already wrapped up the Constructors title, because Leclerc on the penalty was outside the top 10, though he is up to 9th now, and Sainz out of the race. Porsche is under threat from Vettel right now. He's definitely got some pace, and we are out of DRS range. Maybe we need to go aggressive and try to get back into that DRS range. That's going to make a huge difference. It's going to be really hard to hold off Vettel too. I'll use it to defend a little bit. As Albon gets in pretty tight, so that could be one good thing to this move, as we've actually lost 0.6 of a second there without that DRS. And Vettel has gone by. We just ran out of the ability to continue to push. We had used up, took a few laps, but we had slowly used up that DRS to hold off Vettel, and we were burning through those tires, so eventually we had to just sit up. And all that means, though, is we let him lead the train, and meanwhile, he's lost the wheel of the cars in front. He's 2.5 seconds behind, so that's the only good news on that one. Is it should put us in a decent enough state to not have to worry about Vettel, getting into a train and finishing much higher than, where he's at right now, which is P15. He does have some pace, that is for sure. And Stroll does not. Stroll's 7 seconds behind, as we are challenging him through the chicane here, in the middle portion of the track, and gonna have to back off for now, but it's a good attempt. It does show that we have the pace to keep up with him, at least. As, big mistake from Porsche. He locks up there, and he's going to go off. He's going to resume the track, still well ahead of Stroll, but that's going to mess up his race. You can see Porsche now settling in between. So we have a trio of cars, and then Porsche, and then Stroll. And Albon has gotten past Vettel. So Albon is now going to lead that train. Meanwhile, it's 4 seconds behind the group in front. Albon, that's without even pushing, he's managed to get past. At this point, I'm not interested in trying to push with Albon, as Vettel and Tsunoda both DRS. We just don't have a whole lot of pace. We're not that far off, and we're seeing the first round of pit stops now. Early, lap 16. Wow, looks like a lot of drivers are going to opt for the 2-stop strategy, which, from what I was seeing, was going to be much slower than going for the 1-stopper. So we're still following Vettel, Alonso just behind, and Tsunoda already pit. He's on that 2-stopper. Albon got squeezed out by Alonso there. Hopefully he's able to stay within 1 second. So that's P16 and P17 for us. It's an 8-second gap to Porsche. That's how much faster Vettel is. That Porsche has lost another 5 to 6 seconds since he ran wide. I mean, he was a few seconds behind by the time he rejoined the track, but he's lost an additional 5 seconds over the last 8 laps. So he's 3/4 of a second slower than Vettel in the Aston Martin, who is easily a second faster than his teammate. Perez pushing because he was on a two-stopper. Verstappen's better pace. Looks like he's actually trying to run a one-stopper, and that makes a little more sense why those two hadn't opened up any sort of gap between each other, as there is a natural gap between those two. Pourchaire now 11 seconds behind, just 2 laps later. So he's lost 2 more seconds in 2 laps. And Alonso's gone, so we're not benefiting from that pace anymore. We are 3 seconds behind, but you can see, and I hate to say it, but with all the crashes we've had this season, I actually wouldn't mind if Albon and Vettel took each other out much faster than Stroll today. Clearly has an upgrade that Stroll does not have. It's not just about their pace. But Pourchaire is much faster than Stroll. I mean, we're 20 seconds ahead of him, 23 seconds ahead of him right now, as we are starting to get more cars into the pits. Yeah. Are any of these guys going to try to make the one-stopper happen? I don't know. He spent a bit longer driving aggressively because he was ahead of Albon, and then because he was ahead of Vettel and tried to hold off Vettel for a while. So he definitely went deeper. And you can see he's 2 whole laps worth of fuel off. And Verstappen is into the pits, and we're very much into the one-stopper window right now. And yeah, here's a big group. The entire front 5 in this field, plus a couple more cars, are all heading into the pits. This is going to bring us out in a pretty solid position. But it's not time to pit yet. Not yet. We are extending as we've managed to make the tires last a little bit longer. It's going to allow us to push more on the hards, which is that reason to extend here. 37%, 39%. I think I can go probably 1 additional lap for Albon.
Okay,
Safety.
Safety car.
We're not in a great position right now.
Yes.
But the cars will be slowed. We're going to double stack. We're pitting this lap. And everybody else is already pit. We're going to benefit from this. We are going to benefit from this. We are going to lose some ground in the pits, obviously. We're going to lose some position. Pitting from P8. We'll see where we come out. Double stack is no problem. There's plenty of a gap between the 2 drivers. Russell also pitting now, so Russell has benefit from this as well. Russell will come out in P7, it looks like. Albon, P14. It's better. It is better. We're ahead of Vettel anyway. Still behind Schumacher. We almost gain on those guys. Pourchaire, meanwhile, comes out in P17, only ahead of Stroll, which is where he was. So no gain for him. So Albon gains 1 position. Pourchaire neutral. So not enough of a gain there with everyone slowed down for the safety car, but hey, I'll take that free stop. Sonoda with the spin is going to drop him to last place. Pourchaire up to P16 as a result. Albon's position is unchanged. And we are trying to hold DRS range. Stroll is out of DRS range. Sonoda is out of DRS range. Schumacher has lost Vettel. So Pourchaire is following him and following him well at the moment. Vettel, 9/10 of a second behind. Can we drop Vettel? That would be ideal. That would be making it well worth it to push on a little bit longer for Albon, knowing that... Ooh, hello. We've got Ricciardo going backwards and fast. Can we get Ricciardo between us? And that's both McLarens ahead of us now, with Magnussen having gone past the both of them, and Magnussen leads the train at 3.5 seconds behind. Vettel is still in the train, though, and did close up the gap, so Vettel has not gotten away from us here. Or we have not gotten away from Vettel, that is. We do have 2 stoppers in the field, remember, and they have yet to make that second stop. If they don't do so now under the safety car, we could see a scenario that could play out into our favor. We could have a lot of guys coming out well behind us here with the field all nice and bunched up. So now in P13 and P15 with Schumacher the latest to be out of the race, along with O'Connor and Sainz. Means you're already looking at, you know, as slow as Stroll is, we're guaranteed 15th or higher. Tires slightly overheating. Wow, that didn't take long. Alright, my goal, my hope now is that Pourchaire could keep up with the train now that he's behind Vettel here, and that we could probably escape Stroll fairly quickly. So we do want to push on with Pourchaire for a little bit to try to, you know, keep that gap to Vettel and see if we can't escape Stroll and let those back 2 guys drop off and then stay in that train. And then as guys pit, those second stops. Sector 3, yellow flag, and it's Stroll. Stroll has made a mistake. That's dropped him to last. Runs wide in turn 16. That helps open up that gap, though. Tsunoda is going to be faster. We'll see. He doesn't have the DRS, though. I have DRS. So does Vettel. Vettel was 1.3 and then 1.4. It was well over a second. Albon has to tuck back in there. Close call. That's going to really open that gap, doesn't it? No? Vettel? Okay, Vettel's 1.5 back still. Pourchaire goes by because Vettel did not have DRS. My worry, though, is we could help Vettel bridge the gap if Vettel can get back within a second. He never did, so no DRS for either of them. If he starts to, we instantly need to back off. Pourchaire, 2 seconds behind. Ooh, hello, he just closed up on Albon really fast. Albon made a mistake. Albon made a mistake. He lost a second. You see Pourchaire now looking to get around. What is going on with Albon? He is really slow. I think it was just a mistake in the chicane. Unnoted, but did he lock up? He's 2 seconds back. Easily inside of a second, but we don't get DRS, and Vettel does. And Vettel's gonna get to the inside here. You gotta be kidding me. That is so unfair. That is so unfair. 0.7 of a second was the maximum that we were behind our teammate, and we don't get DRS. One turn. And here it is, the pit stop. The second stop. First round of them is happening right now. We're ahead of Perez, Alonso, Tsunoda, and Stroll all pitting again. That's going to leave Tsunoda and Stroll way behind. But for now, it puts us ahead of both Perez and Alonso. Vettel. That's all the way up to P11 for Vettel. That's worrying. Sector 2, yellow flag.
That's a spin!
Tsunoda. He's had multiple lockups and a spin now today. And here we go. 3 more cars into the pits. Again, Pourchaire, half a second behind. No flap open. Perez has already caught up to us. He'll likely make his way through. How you handle that one will be important. We don't have to worry about getting lapped. Leclerc is the race leader. Yes, the guy who started way behind. He has become the race leader. But he is a straightaway ahead. That's it. So, with 16 laps to go, we don't have to worry about being lapped. We will finish on the lead lap today. But here is Perez. Perez making his way past Pourchaire. He's got a huge pace advantage to us. Huge advantage. And he's already passed Albon.
Red Bull moved up.
Now he'll be making his way past Vettel. And that's a place where we want to be aggressive because we can follow.
Happy to increase pace.
As he goes past Vettel, we can possibly make our way past Vettel as well. And then, if we continue to push, Perez can help pull us away, and we might just be able to leave Vettel behind. Actually, it looks more like Vettel's using... And actually, this could be a good thing. Maybe Vettel is using his ERS to defend right now and hold Perez up for the time being, which has allowed us to close back in thanks to the DRS. And that means once Perez does get by, Vettel might be out of ERS, and that could be our chance. Looking left, looking right, but not getting past. Can't even get past Vettel in the slowest car. Well, we have the slowest car, don't we? I think lately we have not had the slowest car, not quite anyway. We seem to get enough with the bonuses as here comes Alonso. He's past Pourchaire already. This is making our plan this much harder. It's putting a buffer between Vettel and us right now. Pourchaire, that's P12 for him. 8 seconds to Guan Yu Zhou. Stroll way back in 17th. Tsunoda way back in 16th. So at least that's not a concern. Vettel still running P9. Perez has gone by. And it looks like Perez is already starting to pull away from Vettel, as I suspected he might. And Vettel straying outside of DRS range. He's now more than a second behind. And here comes Alonso, side by side. He's going for the double overtake, and we're going for the overtake as well.
Alpine just advanced.
So that's a double overtake for Alonso. But then we switched the other way as Vettel got swamped not by one but by 2 cars. And we are ahead of Vettel. So we stay in P10 where we were already. Alonso goes from 11th to 9th. And Vettel goes from 9th down to 11th. Pourchaire, full attack. His race is now or never. His race is to get Vettel out of this points scenario. Get him out of this battle for points. Having a look to the inside. While Albon having a look to the inside of Ricciardo, is it? And Pourchaire completes the move. Pourchaire completes the move. Down to neutral. Down to aggressive. Tire wear is kind of right back where it was, and you know, you can see we're going to be right at the cliff at the end of this thing. So we're going to drop. Albon used up that ERS, but we pulled away from Vettel, and the moment we did, that's when Pourchaire got the overtake. Pourchaire got that overtake done. Now we need to just try to hold up Vettel, but at 2.5 seconds behind, we have high hopes that we can hold him off. Okay, meanwhile, back with Albon. Albon is putting Norris under pressure, and Norris has fallen off the pace of those in front of him. We need to go standard as we are a little bit below where we need to be by a couple percentage points. So we need... Yeah. Oh, hello, we just passed Norris. We just passed Norris, and that is a position gained. P9 for Albon. This would be our highest finish of the year if we can finish here.
just gained
We
by
finished
Williams.
10th twice. We have 3 points total because we got a fastest lap the first time, as we pushed right on the final lap, gave it everything we had to see if we could get more, and everybody else was on a long run. We pit a little bit later compared to everybody else. Our tires were 5-6 laps fresher. We hadn't been pushing, and we pushed right at the end, and it was just enough on that last lap to go slightly faster than the Red Bulls and Ferraris and take home an extra point. So that's P9, P12 now. Vettel did get by Porsche, but he held him up. But that's the important part. 3.7 behind now, and we will get another shot at Vettel before the end of the race. Even if we don't beat him, I don't care too much, as we've got a great chance at points today. We need to wait. Right here, I thought I just heard pit road being busy, but doesn't say anybody's in the pits. So back down to P10, back down to P12. But both are still in a position where we've got a real shot here in the final laps, as Albon has another look. Norris is clearly off the pace. I wonder what his tire wear is like. It's similar.
Doing what you're doing.
It's actually better than ours. Quite a bit better than ours. We've been pushing a bit, and it's showing. The guys on the one stopper are doing a lot better than we are. The mediums are fine. But only the two got through. Guan Yu Zhou, he was 8 seconds back last time we had checked. 3.5 now, so he is coming. He's going to put Vettel and Porsche under pressure. Porsche back ahead of Vettel, by the way, into P11. Zhou has gone past. He's gone past. He's just 3.7 behind Albon now. He might still catch us. And he's instantly pulling away from Vettel and Porsche. More than a second back. Vettel somehow gets DRS anyway, even though he was about 1.3 at the detection zone, from what I saw anyway, on the intervals. Just a few laps to go. Albon, unfortunately, does not have the ERS and cannot keep up with Norris well enough. Tire wear warning, 30%. 30%.
Yeah, A-firm.
We're going to start to lose some pace.
Okay.
Ricardo's 6 seconds behind him, though, with just a few laps to go. And Albon has lost Norris. We are going to lose the DRS, which is going to back us right on up to Guan Yu Zhou. I'm glad Guan Yu Zhou came through, because otherwise Vettel could probably finish here in P10. 2 laps to go. 2 laps to go, and Guan Yu Zhou goes right on past. Magnussen within 5 seconds as he went around Ricardo of Porsche. With 2 laps to go, you figure he can hold him up long enough. And now we're just driving defensively to try to keep P11. The tire wear, the pushing,
Okay,
too much. Big crash, safety car. The race will finish under safety car.
Safety car, safety
And
car.
we're gonna get a point.
Delta positive.
We're gonna get a point. We're moving up the order. Somebody's going backwards. Norris is going backwards. Norris just crashed. There's your flames.
Nobody else was involved. That was a
Yeah.
big crash.
There's your flames at the end. Highlight just showed it a little early, but
And
that's
that was a bitter blow
it's
for the team.
engine
And it
on
may
fire,
have
folks.
really hurt their overall chances.
But Norris has crashed out of this race, and that is going to give us points for the 3rd time this season. It's only 1 though. It is only 1, but that is points. And that's Vettel in P11. That upgrade. Oof. Vettel was so quick today. It was so hard to beat Vettel. But that 2-stopper catching out a lot of cars on the 2 stoppers. But everybody else stayed back. Magnussen, Ricardo, Tsunoda, and Stroll were all on that 2-stop strategy. And here we go, coming up on the finish. Verstappen wins the race with a safety car. Leclerc takes second. Bottas is going to finish third. Hamilton fourth. Perez will claim fifth place. Gasly, Russell, Alonso, Zhou, and Albon rounding out the points paying finishes. And that will give us a grand total of 4 points in our first season here. Good way to finish out the season.
Williams have got to be happy with their results here. This was good work.
Last race of the season, and Porsche improves on his best result of the year, but actually loses position. So Vettel has gone past up to P18 because of the 11th. Porsche, with the best finish of 12th on the year, ends up finishing in P19, but still Latifi was 21st, so he obviously did much better. That is going to do it for this episode, though. Let's go ahead and take a look at the final constructors standings. It is Ferrari, Red Bull, Mercedes, Alfa Romeo, Alpine passing each other in final race of the season. AlphaTauri, McLaren, Haas, us with 4 points. Haas staying on 15. Drivers, it was Leclerc ahead of Verstappen, and then Sainz and Perez. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there, and bye for now.